Yes.
Cool. Okay. So as Christy introduced me, my name's Katie. I've been in the mortgage space for almost a decade now, so a little over 8 years. I have never originated, but I have a lot of just admiration for what you guys do, both as realtors, title, and lenders. I always say this, but you guys wear a ton of hats. You're, keeping your team in process. You're trying to keep the loans and the deal in the pipeline. You're just, fielding all these calls. You do a lot. So then when we add in the component of, oh, by the way, you also need to be digital marketers and build out personal brands and all of the things, that's really overwhelming. Like you need one more thing on your to-do list. So what I've spent the last 8+ years in my career specifically is supporting loan officers and realtors, helping them with personal branding, staying attuned to best practices, looking at strategies, and now working specifically with AI and how do we bring AI into your strategy and your content in a way that it still feels authentic and personal, so we don't lose that touch. So that's a little bit about me. And so today we kind of talked about this in the chat. So if you guys want to put in the chat, where you're joining from, I have a love for Orange County. I spent a couple of years there and I still have family that lives down there. So it's a really special spot for me. I am from Kalispell, Montana, so northwest Montana, just south of the Canadian border and close to Idaho. So we're in the quarter. Okay, I want to kick things off and I want to ask you guys a question. Looking at this photo, say you're on the PCH and you're headed up to Newport. Would you guys stop and pick up this cool guy? Now, I know the world is a little crazy, so we're going to just pretend that everybody is nice and, there's no hard foul going on. But you're busy, your schedule's packed, you're on the move. Are you going to pick up this guy and drive him up the highway?
No.
No, most likely,
He's
right?
to pick up anybody. So.
Right. This guy, he looks like a millennial or a Gen Z. He's cool. He's a little stylish. But here's the thing. We're all busy. I don't have time to just go to Jacksonville, right? Now, let's change the dialogue just slightly. It's Christmas Eve, and you're headed exactly to the same spot. And this guy is trying to get home to surprise mama for Christmas. Would you maybe consider stopping to make that mom's night?
Only if I had an open bed pickup and he could get in the back.
Now, again, I'm saying all things considered, right? Like we're not thinking of any hard foul or anything, just from a messaging standpoint of the two. Here's the deal. This is generic content, right? We all have done it. We all are sick of it, and we probably see it all the time. All you have to do is open your Instagram thread, Facebook, look at your email, wherever you get bombarded with messages, and there's a lot of generic vanilla. Would you agree? It's not really compelling. It's not going to make me act and, click through something. Now, the difference is side by side. That's the difference between generic content and when you personalize your content, you change your messaging. The goal is still the same. He's still trying to get to Jacksonville. He's still hitchhiking. He's still the same person. The only thing that has changed is his message and how he's trying to get your attention.
Emotional response.
Yes. We are all competing for attention, getting your next client, getting the referral, like everything that we're doing from a marketing and positioning standpoint is attention, right? So what I want to talk about before we get into some of the actual tactics, and I promise you I will get into like tactics and prompts of, using AI, but I want to set the framework for why this is important, because a lot of people just jump into throwing out content, but they don't really take a lot of consideration into what is my personal brand and why is a personal brand important. So if we're thinking about this, and I want to start with some framing it around trust. Think about it this way. As a lender, as a realtor, your client is essentially trusting you to help them through one of the biggest transactions of their life, right? That's what we do. We all do that. Now, we essentially, because they're coming to us, we're skilled, we're capable, we're qualified. But a lot of times we can just like go through the motions of going through this process and we forget, oh yeah, they're a first-time home buyer or they haven't done this in a long time, right? So there's overwhelm, there's kind of this uphill battle. So trust is the currency. Now I want you to think about this for a second. If you were to stop and go audit your messaging, whether that's your social media, your email, your website, your actual face-to-face events, any element of that, how would you grade yourself? Would you say you're wealthy or you're broke when it comes to building trust through the brand that you have?
Mhm.
Right? So most brands are broke. And I'm not talking obviously a monetary amount, but we know that today's consumers, even savvy boomers, are looking at places online more and more, right? So if I am a client and I'm working with you, Janice, you're my realtor, and I'm like, hey, I need to get pre-approved. Is there a lender that you would recommend? Well, I hope that you're going to say, Barry is amazing. He is the guy to get the job done, and you have this whole partnership, right? But even if he's highly referred, what am I going to go do? Well, I'm going to go do my due diligence as a consumer, and I'm going to go do a quick Google search on Barry Zink, and I'm going to see, does he have any reviews? Does he have any Facebook or maybe an Instagram? Probably not TikTok, but is he on LinkedIn? Does he have a company website? Does he have a bio that I can learn about? Who is he outside, independently, outside of just taking Janice's word for it? So these are little digital breadcrumbs that support you because you are the personal brand, right? When we think of personal branding, a lot of times people just jump to, oh, it's your colors, it's your logo, it's your fancy website. Those are components that help make up your personal brand. But I don't do business with your colors and your logos. I do business with you. You are your brand. Okay. So why is it important that we actually look at trust for a second? Because when we look at the data, and one of the reports that I focus on a lot is the Next Gen Homebuyer Report, and I can send you the slide and I can send you guys like actually where I'm sourcing my information. But when we look at this, 33% of Next Gen homebuyers trust realtors. 33%. That means 67% said they don't trust a realtor. Now, if you're a lender, that number was 20%, which means 80% said they don't trust lenders. So we have our work cut out for us, right? When you look at other data points, 77% of first-time home buyers are saying that they're looking at social media before they're ever picking up the phone to call a lender. 77%. Now, the scary part about that is that 41% of consumers say they don't trust information shared on social media. So if they don't trust a lender or the realtor, they're going onto social media, but then they're still kind of questioning the information that's on social media. That means that we have to earn their trust, right? So trust has never been harder to earn, and it's also never been more valuable. So 74% are more likely, say they're more likely to trust someone who has an established personal brand. 58% are willing to pay more for services from somebody who has an established personal brand. And 63% say they're more likely to buy from you if you have an established personal brand. So it's really important that we key in on this, that we have to make sure that we're showing up. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that you need to go have social media.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not going to tell you that you need to go have, TikTok and LinkedIn and, I'm not going to tell you that you got to go post 5 times a day and, exhaust yourself with that. But it is important that we look at where are the key places that your clients might be searching, right? So reviews are really good. making sure that you have an about somewhere on your website so that when somebody goes to Google your name, they can quickly at least learn a little bit about you. Now, your online footprint isn't going to be the only thing. We obviously want to make sure that we're like really good at what we do and we have the right team and the right partners to help make this be a really good experience for the customer. But overall, we want to make sure that at least our content reinforces trust and it supports the brand of like who we are. Now, let me ask you guys this. When it comes to creating content, do you guys have any sort of strategy about like how you personally create content, whether that's social media, email, whatever that is? I'd love to see if you guys have anything. And you can put that in the chat or you can come off. You can also come off. I'm struggling to see where my chat is. There we go. Okay. Do you guys send like a email? Do you guys do any type of email to your clients, like even after you've closed to stay in touch with them? Monthly email, Tony. Okay. Cool. So, and hopefully this will inspire you guys too, to kind of figure out like, okay, I can get a game plan. I can do, I can at least commit to this, right? I always like to go back to my personal story of, I'll stop sharing for a second. So my husband and I, we've bought several homes over the course of our 15 years of marriage and we've moved a couple times, but we bought a home 4 years ago. We'd relocated across country like everybody else in COVID. And we worked with our realtors. They were phenomenal. Loved them. I actually never met my realtors in person until well after we had closed, but they were like really good. And then we bought a second property 6 months later and we used them as well. We have since sent them multiple referrals where our friends have also bought from them, right? So I would say that we're a pretty highly loyal client. And as much as I love them, they don't contact me. Now, if I email them, I'm like, hey, we have a question on the market or we're thinking about another strategy, they're always like, yep, we'll meet you for lunch whenever or coffee or whatever that looks like. But I'm like, you guys, I'm a millennial. I would love it if you would pop into my email even once a month and like tell me something that's not spam, it's not salesy, like just like message me. Right? So as a consumer speaking to a room full of realtors and loan officers, please message, please stay in front of your clients. It really does matter. And more than not, I think we just struggle with what to say, right? Which goes back to when I start having conversations one-on-one with realtors and loan officers, and I start saying, okay, what's your content strategy? What are you doing? Most of the time I get responses like you guys are. Maybe I maybe do something once a month, or I don't really have a plan. Most people build their brand strategy backwards. They start with an idea and then we post it and then we kind of panic because maybe it didn't land right. So if we don't have a consistent strategy, maybe we're like, we haven't done anything for months or weeks and it's like, oh, the Feds just cut rates. Well, what does that mean? Well, and then your content kind of goes over here and there and somewhat you feel a little bit like from the viewer, you're a little bit whiplashed because you're like, I can't keep pace with like, what are you talking about? And where does this make sense? And how does this apply to me? Right? Where what we want to do, what the best practice would be, is building your strategy forward, where we start with, okay, who are you? How would you describe and define what your personal brand is? Then let's put together what is a strategy for content and communication that actually works and is key sustainable. And then let's focus on the actual content. Like that's the kind of the fun part. Like what do we talk about and where do we post and does it look pretty? But first of all, we really need to like figure out your brand, then your strategy and your content. So how I like to coach to this, again, as I was just saying, is we need to define what is your brand. So if I were to ask you and say, hey, Tracy, I know that you're a realtor and you are in Southern California. How would you describe your brand? Now, you don't have to, like, I don't want to put you on the spot. You don't have to describe that if you don't want to. But if I were to ask you a question like that, I want you guys to be thinking, okay, well, I've been in the business for X amount of years. I really like working with these types of clients. I have some specialization here. Whatever. You might I like to communicate in a way that's very direct, or I'm more empathetic. Like putting some definition to how you are perceived, how you communicate, who you help, all of those things build the framework for what is your personal brand.
And we have a team.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that
You
gives
have a team.
validation. Mhm.
Yep. So then it's like, hey, I'm not just brand new. I've been in this industry for how
Ever.
many times, right? And I have a team that supports me. So when you hire me, you are getting the support of an entire team of experts that are committed. Like no email goes unread, no response goes missed. Like we are the people for the job, right? So all of that goes and reinforces your brand. Second, as I was just mentioning, now it's like, okay, what kind of strategy do you want to use when it comes to content? I think a lot of times, especially when we hear social media and AI and personal brand, it's like you have to be everywhere and you have to post all the time. There may be some breadcrumbs of truth in that, yes, but you're not going to hear me coach that. Do not go get on every single platform. Do not be posting all of the time. You can be on social media all the time and doing no business, right? Like that can also be the case. So you want to find a content strategy of like what cadence works well for you. And then that's where you're building out some of that content. Why do I start with asking you guys to think about defining your personal brand first? Well, I always say that content that tries to speak to everybody ends up speaking to nobody, right? So if I'm going to try to create content and I'm going to be like, hey, if you have a pulse, if you have a credit score over 580 and you have a job, you are my person. Well, maybe there is some truth to that, but is that really true? Is every single person your client? No. One, you just don't even have the capacity for that. And two, I'm sure there are some clients that you're like, I'll pass, right? So it's really important that we define and get clear on, who you serve. What is your story? Again, Bobby, I could ask you, how long have you been in the industry? Why do you do what you do? Why are you really good at it? And why should I choose you over X realtor or X lender down the street? Right? Not that you have to define those on the spot, but those are some questions that we need to think about so that when we're actually messaging and trying to communicate to future business, that needs to be really clear. Okay, so I am going to, if you guys are okay with this, I'm going to actually jump into ChatGPT and just show you some simple prompting. And then I'm going to also be sharing you some prompts on how to kind of unpack a little bit of this. Does that work with you guys? Okay, so let me come over here. Okay, so if this is, I'm going to just literally hop in here and say, write a post that I can use. Let me see. Okay, write a post that I can use for Instagram caption. I'm a loan officer, and let's just say instead of Denver, Colorado, let's just say in Brea, California. Okay. I have not fed it any information that's going to like talk about how long I've been in the business, or I have a team, or here's my specializations. So your output, although it's probably going to be, I don't know, 80% there, it's okay. But we want to refine this to make it better, right? So your output is, hi, I'm your loan officer based in Brea, California. I've built my career in helping people turn the dream of homeownership into a plan they can feel confident about. Whether you're buying your first home, move up, planning investment, I'll walk you through the numbers, answer questions, and make the process simple. Outside of work, I love being a part of this community and getting to know people who make Brea such a special place to live. If you're ready to explore your options, I'm here to help. Okay. Do you think I could put Christy's name in there, Barry's name in there, anybody else's name in there?
Mhm.
And it might be like it's not specific enough. Like it's pretty generic, right? Okay. Now, what we want to do is, and I'll give you guys a prompt here. Well, I'm going to give you guys this prompt in a second, and then you guys can work on this outside of this call because I think that'll take a little bit more time. But I'm going to show you what comes through if you attach a brand book. And so what I've done is I've built out a demo brand book. So when I say brand book, I have basically put some of those questions that I was just asking you guys, I wrote them down in text. And now I'm basically handing this back over to AI and I'm saying, here's who I am. Here's how long I've been in the business. Here's everything about me professionally and my team. Here are the types of clients that I serve. And here are the local, the where I'm licensed and the geographical area that I support, right? So this is like a mini brand book. Now I'm saying, now take that brand book and write a post about Instagram. Let's just say now take the brand book and yeah, so the same thing. Now, so we're going to basically say repeat the same thing, but it's going to use information. And my demo, her name is Jessica, right? And so now this is going to say, hey, I'm Jessica. A few years ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table staring at a stack of loan paperwork, completely overwhelmed. I remember thinking, how am I supposed to make the biggest financial decision of my life when I don't even understand what I'm signing? That experience is what pushed me into this career. I didn't want other families to feel the same stress and confusion I did. Today, as a loan officer here in Brea, I get to guide first-time home buyers, young families, and bilingual households with the clarity and care I wish I had. I believe buying a home should feel empowering, not intimidating. My role is simple: explain every step in plain language, answer every question with patience, and make sure you feel confident when you pick up your keys. If you're curious about what's possible for you, I'd love to be your guide. Between those two stories, which tone feels more personal and feels more inviting? Right? The second one. It's telling you a little bit more about that person. So as you can see, just using AI, we're in the same chat and we essentially took the exact same thread. The only thing that is different is I provided it with information about my brand. Right? So if you guys, and here's what I'll do, going back to this screen, I'm going to put this in the chat, and then I will also send you guys an email follow-up with these prompts. But this is literally a prompt that you can copy and paste this. You can go put this into whatever AI tool that you use. So ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini. And you can literally, what you're going to say is act as a brand voice expert who helps. And you want to specify if you're a realtor or you're a mortgage professional. Train AI to write like them. Your job is to create a short brand bio, which is the example of what I attached, that captures my tone, personality, audience, and expertise. So ask me one question at a time and then write the bio. So now, if you put this in your AI, it's going to ask you to give more context. What do you do and who do you serve? So again, then you're going to go, okay, I'm Stacy Morrissey and I am a realtor and I've been in the business for this long. And these are the markets that I serve. These are the type of clients that I support. When I write, I am very warm and casual, but I make sure that it's educational and informative. And then, what makes you different or trustworthy in your market? Maybe you support single moms because you understand what that is like, or, self-employed borrowers because X, Y, and Z. So this is where this is a really good prompt that can serve as a good foundational starting piece for you to start feeding your AI tool with some like personal branding information and background about you so that when you start writing content, it will know a little bit more about you to be more specific. Okay, I'm going to pause here for just a second, kind of get a pulse. How are we feeling so far? Good? It's helpful?
Yep.
Very.
Cool.
Good.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So now the second piece. So we've talked about, okay, that kind of, and again, I know this is like drinking from a fire hydrant. And so what I'm sharing, I'm trying to take like a several hour workshop that I would normally do and consolidate this, right? So the next piece that I do outside of defining, we want to talk about designing. It's designing that strategy, right? So a lot of times when going back to that whiplash where people are just spraying and praying content out there, hoping that it works. But are you being really specific and strategic with the content that you share? And, so why is that important? Because we want to make sure that our messaging actually lands in front of the people that we want to attract. So, again, I will put this prompt in the chat, and then I will also send you guys an email that you can literally copy and paste each one of these things. So this prompt is, I am again, realtor or lender who wants to start building a consistent content presence on. Now, you're going to want to insert. Do you want to be on Instagram? Do you want to be on Facebook? Do you want to be on LinkedIn? Maybe TikTok? Do you want to do email? So I would insert the different platforms that you're currently on. Now, if you're like, cool, I'm on none of those platforms, that's okay too. Is there one platform or one type of communication modality that you would like to begin building out? Maybe you don't want to do social media. Maybe you're like, I just want to really hit my inbox with a valuable email once a month. Great. So you could put that in there as well. Now, help me create a foundational weekly content plan that balances education, local expertise, and trust building. My target audience is, again, this is where if we, you could say first-time home buyers in Charlotte, North Carolina, or move-up buyers in Denver, right? So think of some of the types of clients that you serve and kind of think of them in a persona. So maybe it is first-time home buyers, maybe it's self-employed, maybe it's move-up, maybe it's, short-term rental investors, whatever that is. And you can have more than one. Most will have several. But the point of the exercise is, okay, let's try to get some clarity around your personas. Now, please give me a weekly content theme, and you can structure this by a couple categories. Give me some examples, and then suggestions for tone and format. So for example, if you're posting a reel or a carousel, that is going to have a different tone than if you were doing, maybe a caption or a video or a blog or email. So this is literally just some crash course friendly prompting to get you started. This is by no means like the full kit and caboodle of building out a strategy, but it's a really good like jumping off reference point to get started. Now, the next thing is let's talk about how do you take, so when I do, when I coach to let's create content, I'm all about leverage, right? So I like to think, how can I take one idea and then how can I repurpose that? That way it feels the most doable for me. So it's not like, okay, well, on Monday I'm talking about, rate locking. And then, Tuesday I'm talking about, whatever the topic is. Like for the week, let's have kind of one theme that we talk about and then talk about it in many different ways and angles. And you could, if you want to get real fancy, talk about it across multiple platforms. So here's another prompt. Put this back in the chat. And I want to do this example with you guys on the call. So for the sake of today, we're going to just look at doing an email, right? Several of you guys mentioned that you send emails to your database at least once a month. Awesome. So let's start there. So I am a realtor or lender. For the sake of this example, let's just say you're a realtor and looking to send my database an email. This needs to reinforce my expertise, and it needs to be something valuable that they'll actually learn and that will resonate with them. I'm looking for non-cliche hurdles that current home buyers are facing trying to buy a home in today's market. not the standard generic affordability issues, although that is a component. What are the top 0.1% unique angles that would make valuable viral content? Now, this is just a prompt that I wrote before this call because I think it's really important that we brainstorm. If I just went into ChatGPT and I said, give me 3 reasons why I should buy a home today, which I could do that. What are 3 reasons why someone should buy a home today? Right? This is just a standard question. So it builds equity fast instead of paying rent, gives you stability and control, and there's leverage. You can leverage your current opportunities. Now, do you feel like that is a topic that is kind of exhausted? Like when you see this online, do you feel like, cool? So that is a really simple question. Anybody can go into ChatGPT and copy and paste this, right? So the goal is not just to take content that is like, hey, everybody else, because now what happens is everybody's using AI to write this content and they're not using unique angles so that the content sounds really, this content sounds generic and boring. Now, what if we were to take that same kind of thought, which is, I put that prompt up here. So this is going into Perplexity, which is an AI tool. And I said, I'm a realtor looking to that exact prompt is what I put in here. Now it came back and gives me some talking points, here, and I'll go over that in a second. But then I said, okay, well, what if we want to focus on the Orange County, California market? Because this is more specific to where you guys are right now. Okay, so now we're looking at what are unique angles that I, as a realtor, could be talking to my clients about in specific struggles, opportunities pertaining to this market, right? So now here are some ideas. Okay, so extreme entry costs and localized competition. So it's, the median home prices exceeds, you guys have a wild price point, nearly 3 times the national average. This high bar isn't just a sticker shock, it crushes inventory turnover and forces buyers to intense competition. Okay, that's still feels a little bit basic. All right, so when we're coming down here, one of the examples that I had was, like I said, let's look at some more. One of the examples that I was like, oh, this kind of has my attention. So Orange County's move up segment, homes priced $1.25 to $2 million, is especially squeezed. There's stiff competition for high demand submarkets with walkable schools, larger lots, or move-in ready renovations. But at this price tier, buyers encounter great scrutiny, longer days on the market, and often must make larger concessions as luxury buyers focus higher up the price curve. Now, you guys are realtors in this market. Would you say that is an assessment? Fairly accurate? Okay, so now what if we do this? We're gonna pop back over here. And let me give you the next, hold on just a second, the next prompt. And again, I promise I will give y'all all of these prompts. Okay, so now let's go into ChatGPT. And we're going to say just a regular old chat history. I'm a real estate agent writing a valuable email to my past clients, sphere of influence, and current leads. The goal is to stay top of mind, provide helpful market insights, and nurture trust, not just sell. My audience includes, so we can insert a description like, here, or leads. Okay, so my audience includes move up buyers, I can't talk and type, buyers in Orange County, California. Please help me write an email that shares one relevant tip, insight, or update, a short, friendly subject line, a personal conversational tone, and a soft call to action. Make the email sound like it's coming from a trusted local expert who genuinely wants to help. Okay. Now, I'm going to copy and paste this idea, right? So we used AI to search for an idea. Now we're going to come in here, and this is saying, please write the email. Here is the idea I want to write the email about. And we're going to paste this exact email, or this exact word for word. And now we're going to say, okay, please write the email. So here's a draft. So it's going to give you your subject line. So Orange County is 1.25 to $2 million squeeze. And here's the email. Hi, if you've been keeping an eye on the 1.25 to $2 million market in Orange County, you've probably noticed things feel a bit tight. I call it the luxury light squeeze. Here's what's happening. Homes in this price range are in high demand if they're in walkable school districts, have larger lots, or are move-in ready. But buyers are also facing more scrutiny from sellers, longer days on the market, bigger concessions. At the same time, ultra luxury buyers are looking higher up the price ladder, which shifts pressure onto the middle tier. If you're thinking about moving up, it's important to go in with a clear strategy. Strong prep, smart negotiation, and knowing where the opportunities are can make a big difference. If you're curious how this squeeze could affect your next move, just hit reply and I'll be happy to share more about what I'm seeing. And if you know someone looking to buy in this price range, feel free to forward this along. Now, that's totally fine for a first output. What I would then do is refine it maybe to say, okay, well, this is where it gets fun for you guys to personalize this, right? So, Bobby, do you want to come off mute and I'll put you in the hot seat for just a second? Cool. Okay. Are you a realtor or are you a lender?
Realtor.
Realtor. Okay. And you're in Orange County, correct?
San
Okay.
Francisco area.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so you're in San Fran. So you're in another totally high market, but kind of similar. Would you say that do you deal with a lot with move up buyers?
E-
Yeah. Okay. So if we were to doing something like this, and I was working with Bobby and I was kind of coaching him through this, I would say some things like, okay, Bobby, are there any other angles? Like this idea is a great framework, but are there any other pain points that maybe you are seeing consistently from your actual clients? Or maybe you have some subject knowledge about this that AI isn't going to reference. So is there anything like off the top of your head that you're like, cool, well, that's fine, but I would add this as another pain point or challenge or opportunity or thing to remind them about?
I think there's always the push to act quickly.
Okay.
We're seeing a little more time on the market, so I'm a firm believer in first one in wins. And that allowing people either to, underbid, um, or come under risking.
Okay. So obviously timing is important, right? Timing is really critical. And would you say that, not just timing, but actually like, having a strategy in place, right? Because if they're a move up buyer, we also probably need to consider that they're probably considering selling their home or, things like that, right? So there's
Yep.
other variables to consider, like selling their current home to get into the move up home, etc. Please adjust slightly. Right. So now you can see this is kind of an example of here's how I take the framework of a prompt and I would tweak it to be like, okay, I am Bobby. I am the expert, even more than ChatGPT. Now I'm going to take my experience of what I am seeing and experiencing in this current market in real time, and I'm going to provide it with some other angles. And now you can see, some additional juice for the squeeze from this post. Now, because we're running short on time, I'm going to just show you guys how to go from one idea to now repurpose this. Great. Can you turn this into an a 2-minute explainer video that will be posted on YouTube. Right? So now you can ask for, okay, give me, give me a video script, right? So now we're going to talk through, we're taking that same idea, but we're now repurposing it into a video script. Okay. Now, again, if I had more time, I would sit here and kind of pick this apart to refine it. But let's just say for the goal of what we're teaching, we've approved this. This is right in your words and it's good. Now, please write a LinkedIn post that speaks to my referral partners of CPAs and divorce attorneys. So again, now we're going to go, okay, well, I have a strong relationships with CPAs and divorce attorneys. I don't just work with lenders, or I don't just work with realtors for my partnerships. Okay, I want to write a LinkedIn post, or maybe you turn this into now a Facebook post. So you get the point of, okay, now we're reiterating, because each platform is going to have a slightly different way of how you communicate. What you put on LinkedIn doesn't always translate so well over to Facebook or obviously Instagram, because Instagram's more captions and pictures. So again, we're going to take the core idea and then we're going to drive that into other pieces of content. So I'm going to
That
pause
was
here.
kind of, yeah, it was a quick question. And that was kind of my next question is how much variation do you see from AI tools between LinkedIn, Facebook? I get the
Yeah.
Instagram, more imagery, but does
I
the
mean, I
content
still,
alter much?
well, I think just the strategy as a whole, right? So typically when you're going over to LinkedIn, it's definitely getting more personalized, which I love, instead of just straight stuffy business. But, it's the format of what it is. So AI is very well versed to handle, okay, write this for LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram, because it's going to break up, the types of captions and stuff. But just in general, knowing, okay, what types of my audience are going to be hanging out on Instagram. Your first time home buyer is probably on Instagram, maybe more so than your trust attorney on Instagram, right? So it's kind of just having that, okay, going back to defining who are the types of clients that I work with, who are the types of, referral partners that I work with, and then going through, okay, if I know that I really work well with trust attorneys, I'm going to probably be writing more education based content and posting that on LinkedIn or sending an email. If I'm really trying to target that first time home buyer or that move up buyer and they're in their 30s to 40s and they're savvy enough, maybe I'm going to be going more on Facebook or Instagram, or and there's going to be a crossover. It's not just black and white that it's all or nothing, but it really goes back to everybody's going to have a slightly different strategy on what content you're putting out, what you're talking about. Okay, so that is really like a crash course in what I'm sharing. And I would just, remind you guys, that your brand is not a one size fits all. So what's going to work for Tracy and Janice is not going to be the exact carbon copy for Bobby and Stacy and Tony and everybody else on this call. So that's why it's really important that you do work through some of these things to kind of get definition around your personal brand so that you can create content that's building trust. And then, the other thing I would just say is, like, in a world that's really busy and noisy, be different. Like, try, making sure, like, it's okay if your content is a little off the cuff. If it's aligned to you and your voice, like if you're a little more direct or you crack dad jokes, do more of that. People love all of that, like, let your personality come through. So So yeah, I wanted this to be, like I said, this is really like a super crash course, like drinking from a fire hydrant. You guys can go ahead and scan this code if you want. I am going to be doing some follow-up workshops that I'll be promoting. I'm just putting some of the finishing touches on it. So if you're feeling like this was really good and I got just enough of an appetizer to like, make me intrigued, but I feel like I have no clue to still really replicate what you're doing, great. I'm going to be sign up for my wait list, and I'm going to be putting together a more structured, like 90-minute to 2-hour masterclass where I will go through step by step these sequences and give you like all of the prompts and everything that we're doing so that you have a little bit more structure. So with that, Christy, I will hand this back over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Katie. It's really great information. I've dabbled in it myself with the title stuff for Instagram and Facebook and asking for prompting like that. And it's just really kind of fun. And I like it because, make it playful, make it funny, make it, I'm kind of like goofy anyway. So it does make it's just an amazing way to do it. So I would like to come back to some of your other classes. And so please add us to the list and I can send it out to everybody as well. So
Very cool.
yeah. And
Cool. Well, thank you guys
Thank you.
for joining us. Janice, you have a question? Yeah, and I can
Yeah.
stay on. I know Christy has a hard stop, so I was just trying to like crash land the plane so that we can
Okay.
make that as a hard stop. But I have a couple other minutes, so if you guys have other questions, happy to take any questions and whatnot. I just wanted to make sure that for everybody
Yes.
that needs to hop off, I'm really respectful of your time. So,
Thank you.
Janice.
First, Katie, thank you. Christy, thank you. Christy, I'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock at our sales meeting. And could you just send me a quick email about some of the things that you're going to cover? So I'll put you on first in the morning. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
I will. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And then Katie, as a reminder, we spoke about one of my agents couldn't make it today,
Yep.
Chloe, who is really in need of this content. Could you send me a link to a
Yes.
repeat or of that? And do
Yep.
you have my email address?
I do, because you registered. So what I'll do is I'll send out the recording of today's call and I'll make sure to give you guys the prompts that I used as well so that you guys can go back and copy and paste those if you want to work through some of these higher level concepts for sure.
Excellent.
100%.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. That'll be very helpful.
You're welcome.
Okay. And we'll see
Cool.
you next time.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I think we're good. Then thank you guys so much for coming, and I will be sending you guys an email out in just a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.